Fishing Intelligence, a fishing improvement podcast for the modern angler. On this special episode of Fishing Intelligence, I'm talking with Ben Milliken of the YouTube channel Milliken Fishing. We're going to be talking about what got him into fishing, what he likes about it, what it's like being a full-time YouTube fisherman, and a whole lot more. It's going to be a great episode, so make sure you guys stick around. Ben, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thanks a ton for having me, Jacob.
So how's the fishing been recently around you? I know you've been hitting a lot of ice. Are you starting to see more of a spring pattern going on?
We're finally seeing some ice meltage weather coming up in the forecast, 40s and 50s, which I'm totally ready for, man. It's been a long, cold winter with a long ice fishing season. So been doing some ice fishing and then made a couple trips down south. That's actually where I'm at right now, doing some open water fishing.
Oh, awesome. What lake are you at right now?
I just got to Lake Guntersville, so spending the next couple days in this area, lake I've always wanted to come to, so super jacked to get some content here.
The land of giants.
I'm feeling good. I got 3 days, so I should be able to make something potentially happen. We'll see.
And I'm sure you're excited to get off the ice. You kind of had a crazy ice season with your big accident. For those who don't know, you had that fall off of the dock and almost a life-endangering moment there. And so what was that like, just to get your perspective on it? I know you have a video that people can go to, and we'll link it below, but just to give me a little insight.
Yeah, man, I guess I won't get too into details with everything that happened. Basically, I went through some super thin ice. Wasn't even ice fishing, but fell off a dock into some ice cold water and spent about 20 minutes in the water. Had to go to the emergency room. I was super lucky that a couple gentlemen heard me screaming and came and got me out of the water. But yeah, man, it really makes you think about how quick things can happen on the water, especially when it's cold outside. I mean, I think we take it kind of for granted, even when we're out fishing in a boat or something. You got to realize if you fall in the water out there and you can't get back in the boat, you're not in good shape there. So it's something we definitely need to be aware of, I think, as fishermen. And that really opened my eyes. I fish almost every day. So just being a little bit more careful, I think, especially when it's cold, but really anytime, always got to be careful on the water because things can happen real quick. Absolutely.
And you were lucky to have, some awesome fishermen around you that were able to pull you out and save your life there.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's one of the only lakes in the area that has a marina. Actually, I think it's the only lake in the area that has a marina. So the fact that I fell in there and had some guys there was super lucky. That's for sure.
So coming out of ice fishing season, what is your favorite time of the year for fishing in general?
Ooh, that's tough. We have a really strong, pre-spawn bite in the Midwest where I'm from, where at the little man-made lakes and even some of the natural ones, the grass gets up, and so the pre-spawn bite's really good. But I'm kind of a deep water offshore type guy too, so I really, really like the post-spawn. June into July around home is when that happens. Also throw big swim baits, and that also gets really good post-spawn as well. So I mean, I'm always jacked all winter thinking about that pre-spawn period, but I guess post-spawn, when the water's probably 70 to 80 degrees and the mid-May to late June time of the year around home, that's probably my favorite.
Awesome. And then do you have a favorite location to fish, or are you just all about traveling, exploring new spots?
Man, I'm all about traveling, exploring new spots. I've got favorite spots around home, but honestly, I'd rather do what I'm doing right now, and I'm just pull up to the boat ramp at Guntersville. I'd rather go explore somewhere and find them rather than go somewhere that I know I can catch them really good. I think that's kind of what pushes us all, I think, is the chase and the drive to kind of go out and explore new waters and catch new fish. And to me, I mean, there's a lot of times when I could go smash them for 5 days in a row on the same spot on the same lake, but I don't have any fun doing that. I'd rather go catch two somewhere that I wasn't familiar with.
Couldn't agree more there. And then let's dive into your past a little bit. What actually got you into the sport of fishing?
Man, actually, I grew up, and we my dad definitely was my main influence getting me out doing some fishing. We had a cabin that we went to a couple hours from home growing up, and I pretty much fished like daylight to daylight there. my parents thought there was probably something wrong with me because I was like 2 years old, 3 years old, out there sitting watching my bobber for like 10 hours at a time, and they had to drag me in constantly to just to eat. So they were kind of starting to worry about me a little bit. So I think the fact that it finally came to fruition where I'm fishing full time for a living now, they're kind of like, oh, okay, that makes a little bit more sense now, and we're glad that you're getting something out of it.
And you were a tournament guy for a bit too, correct?
I was, yeah. That's where my main love and my passion is for it. Really is tournament bass fishing. I played 4 sports in high school, so I was a very competitive, very busy person, and I think that definitely translated into fishing to tournament fishing. That is when I got done with college. I played some college sports, and I got done with college, and I guess in college too. It was a really tough balance for me to try to. I was just getting into tournament fishing, and I was super excited about it, but at the same time, I had so much of a time commitment with. I was playing baseball in college, but yeah, I really got into tournament fishing. It's all I dedicated all my time to it for about 10 years. Tournament bass fishing, that is, and yeah. Here I am. I decided to go the YouTube route a couple of years ago, and I still fish tournaments, but definitely have a different dream and end goal, I guess, now.
So what brought you to that switch then? Because obviously, tournament angling, YouTube angling, two completely different worlds. Was it just the shift in the industry? Did you see things going more YouTube, or was it just more of the interest in traveling wanted to get you a camera and start recording your trips?
Yeah, honestly, man, I tell people all the time, I'm a fisherman that records my stuff. I'm not an actor that decided to go fish. And there's some truth to that. I didn't really see a giant shift, I guess, per se. I fished with a kid locally that did the YouTube thing full time. And so I kind of saw some of the stuff he was doing, which made me go that direction. But the biggest thing for me that kind of pushed me away from trying to go tournament fishing full time was probably the area of the country I lived in. There isn't a huge tournament fishing culture. We have like weekend tournaments, $100, $150 entry fee tournaments. And traveling around, busting your ass to do that, you kind of start to realize that you can be the best fisherman in the area, and the fish change, and fishing's hard. And if you don't win them, you're going home with nothing. And I don't know. It wasn't all about the money or anything, but it kind of starts to become a little bit more about the money and the financial side of it when you're trying to make it a living. And yeah, I don't know. I kind of saw the direction it was going. I still to this day think it's pretty ridiculous that entry fees for the upper tournament organizations are so much money, and that you have to take weeks at a time off work the way they're all scheduled. So that really pushed me away with a full-time job with a kid. It just wasn't something that was in the cards, and I kind of started to see the writing on the wall a little bit more with that.
So then, from that tournament perspective of the higher entry fees, have you been following the new MLF platform a lot?
I have, yes. I've followed it a decent amount. Haven't followed the tournament side of it a whole lot, but of course, very integral in all the formation and everything, and that was kind of a huge shift in the industry for sure.
So do you like that format more, or do you think the 5 fish bringing in big bags is still going to be the tournament form years down the road?
I don't know what it's going to be years down the road. I think in order to grow the sport, we're going to have to figure out a different way to televise this. By televise, I mean definitely go towards the social media route, different ways to bring the sport to a more digital age. But I also think the 5 bass limit is the way to go. To me, that'll always be what sets it apart for tournament fishing, is catching the 5 biggest ones. I know that a lot of people have said that about catching small fish and everything with MLF, and there's some truth to that, but those guys still catch big fish too, and I enjoy watching it. But I think the biggest thing moving forward is going to be how we televise this sport to a digital market, because of the numbers going away from television and everything. So we'll see how it kind of transgress throughout the next couple of years, but we'll see. It's going to be interesting.
Definitely, yeah, because we're seeing this big shift away from television to, these more online-driven platforms. So I'm sure that fishing's going to have to follow that and find a way to evolve.
Absolutely, and that's that's important because I don't think it has the last handful of years, maybe 10 or 15 years even.
Yep.
It's the fishing moves a lot slower than everything else. The industry does. So we'll kind of see where that goes.
So what is it about fishing that excites you? Because we all share this passion for getting out on the water and catching these fish. But what is it specifically that makes you get up every morning? That makes you spend 10 hours a day or more on the water?
For me, I've just loved the chase of getting out fishing, breaking down new bodies of water, and literally every single day is different. I know that's cliche to say, but literally every day on the water is different. You learn something new every time, and as soon as you think you got it figured out, you get kicked in the teeth usually by those fish. And I love fishing as well because it's something that anyone can do. You don't have to be rich or athletic or even smart. I catch a lot of fish, and look at me, man. But anyways, so yeah, fishing is a great equalizer. The fish don't care who's throwing the bait or how expensive your rod or your bait is or anything else. It really levels the playing field, which is awesome.
Or sometimes, the fish see a million of the same lures that they just decide not to bite when people find out about smallmouth in a certain lake, right?
Exactly. I'm about to go do that right here at Gunnersville too. It's Monday morning, and there's about 40 to 50 boats at the boat ramp that are already launched. So, yeah, we're gonna go out and fish for some pressured ones today. But man, that's a good thing. It's so good. Like I love seeing that. It's a double-edged sword, and you post videos and people go to spots and stuff. But at the same time, like that's my main goal is to get more people into fishing, and so it's not upsetting for me to see so many people on the water these days.
And that's got to be kind of cool in its own sense. The fact that you have such a following that you can go to a body of water and bring that many people to it. Like, is that kind of mind blowing for you that your channel's gotten to this point where you have this many followers and they're all that loyal?
Yeah, it's really surprising and different, and not something I was expecting. I didn't start making videos to start getting become famous or anything like that and get a bunch of followers, and just to see how some of that's transpired is really interesting. It kind of changes things, and you got to, like I said, again, double-edged sword. You want to help as many people out with as much stuff as possible, but you can't give too much information out about your favorite spots, or else they'll become a little bit of a circus.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm sure you get a million questions about this on your YouTube videos, but what advice would you give to those young kids that are either trying to become the YouTube fisherman or just trying to, become better in fishing in general? Are there any good tips that you would give them?
As far as the YouTube side of things, I think what everyone needs to do is try to figure out maybe what's next, or self-awareness is a huge part of it too. I mean, there's thousands of channels. There's only a handful of guys doing it full time. So if you get into it to try to do it full time and make a bunch of money, you should probably spend some time to see if it's going to be successful before you do that. So I think a lot of people message me with visions of grandeur, and they give up pretty quickly. And that's too bad, because putting out content, making your own videos is supposed to be fun, and it is really fun to document everything that you're doing. So yeah, I think start there. But the biggest thing with fishing that I can tell younger people is the most important thing, and I say this as someone that makes videos for people to watch, is not to sit around and watch videos all day or read articles all day, but the most important thing is time on the water, and time on new water, and learning every time you're out. Don't go throw the same baits every time. Don't go fish the same spots every time. Go try to figure out new things on the water every single time, and you'll definitely have tough days. I have tough days. I think I have a lot more tougher days than people see. All they see is me go catch 8 or 10 or 15 fish on a video, and they don't realize that there's a couple days in between there where I didn't, maybe. So don't get discouraged, and spend a lot of time on the water would be the biggest things.
And you're obviously going to be spending some time on the water in that new boat of yours. You want to talk about that?
Oh man, I'm jacked about it. My wife would probably say I've been spending too much time in it, but I had to get away from home. It's been sitting in the garage like the last 3 weeks, and we've had ice on the lakes, and yeah, I'm super jacked about the new boat, man. I've had 3 boats now, but never a new boat. This is my first new one ever. So to be the first one to get to fart in the seats, it's pretty exciting.
And I feel like your channel, you have some of the weirdest wordplay of the YouTube fishing community. What's up with all the mispronunciations of words? Is that just something that kind of happened through the channel over the years, or is that just a fun thing that you do with your buddies?
Man, I think it's both. I just have a stupid sense of humor, and so dude, you know how it is. You spend a lot of time out in the water, you start to go a little bit crazy sometimes, and so you got to have a little bit of fun with it. So I think more than anything, it's that. I think the main one is slosh. It's kind of become synonymous with my channel, the word slosh.
Yep.
And that kind of started because we said it a few times, and then someone commented and said how cringy the word was and how they don't want to ever hear it, and they're going to unsubscribe if I say it again. And so the next two videos we made, we saw how many times we could say it in a video, and then people just loved it. We said it 100 and some times in one video. People loved it, and now I'm making Slaunch Hunter apparel, and that's like my highest selling apparel and everything. People love that stuff.
Awesome.
So yeah, you got to have fun with it. I think that's something that sets some channels apart too. There's a million channels out there, guys, just going out and fishing. And to me, just watching someone go out and cast and catch some fish isn't that exciting. So you got to have some fun with it.
Absolutely. And you always have, some great guests fishing with you on your channel, and you got your kid on there sometimes. You got Porn Stash. Yep. You got,
of course,
a whole gaggle of guys that you go fishing with. So the personality's definitely there on your channel, which is a cool thing to see.
For sure.
I
like that part of it too.
Yeah, definitely. Is there like a favorite location that your channel's taking you? A favorite video maybe?
Ooh, that's tough.
I gotta hit you with the hard questions.
Yeah, that is tough. Somewhere that was really cool that I still suck at, but it was so fun, is Costa Rica. I've been there twice now. Went there once. Oliver Nye from Big Bass Dreams hit me up, and he was like, "Hey, I just went to Costa Rica. It's amazing. You should come there." I was like, "All right, cool."
Sure.
So we went there for a week in like August, kind of just on a whim, like planned it like 2 or 3 weeks ahead, and we just went to Costa Rica, in a third world country, and man, that place is incredible. Like I said, I still suck at the fishing, but the fishing is just like, fishing's really good, but the culture and everything down there is so cool. Actually, I had to take my wife in February because I was like, "You're gonna be in love with this place," and I think I liked it more the second time.
That's awesome. And that was the video where you had that. I remember that Kubera Snapper came up and blew up your topwater, and then it like missed it. What happened there? Because I was so ready for you to catch that fish.
Oh my God, man! That's happened. I'm starting to think that Kubera Snappers are a myth. Luckily, our guide caught one the last day of the second trip, or else I would have thought that they were ghosts and not even real fish. Man, those things are freaks. If anyone listening ever gets a chance to go fish for them, Kubera Snappers, don't bait fish for them, or fish reefs or anything. Go out there and cast big topwaters for them, and if you can get one to the boat, it's incredible, because these fish come out of like 30 to 100 feet of water, and they sit down on the bottom, and they'll rock it up and destroy your topwater. And I mean, we were using like 300, 400 size Shimano Tranx reels with like 30 pounds of drag locked down, 65 to 80 pound braid, 100-pound leader. And they come up and get it. And unless they like gulp a bunch of air or they have swim bladder issues, there is no stopping them when they turn and go down into the reef. You're pretty much at their mercy 100%. You can thumb the spool with 30 pounds of drag on it still, and I mean, you're probably going to lose your fingerprint on your thumb.
Jeez.
It's insane. I've never seen anything like it, and we're using heavy stuff.
So are you going to get back out there to catch one?
Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
Any plans for that yet, or just, you're going to go down the road?
No plans, but I definitely know I'm going to be down there in the future. It's a great place to go. Great culture. It's a third world country, but it seems decently safe where we stayed. But yeah, man, it's incredible food and really cool people.
Very cool. So did you have any mentors when you were coming up in the YouTube fishing game, or was it just kind of, the people you were fishing with were carrying a camera, so you decided that, hey, I'm gonna hop on this and go get some camera gear and start filming?
I fished with Andrew Flair. He kind of got me into it, into the YouTube thing. I met him at a tournament actually, and which is kind of funny. He never fished tournaments, but he just so happened to be to be in the tournament, and he came up and introduced himself, and we went out fishing a few times. I was like, what the hell is this dude doing in the back of the boat with a camera on his chest? I never barely even seen a GoPro before. And he was kind of explained it to me a little bit, and I was like, oh, okay, interesting. And then we kind of went on another trip, and he really explained it all to me, and I was like, oh, okay, well, maybe I should give this a try. And that's kind of where I went from there. Kind of started doing a couple videos a week and figuring out the logistics of it, and then that kind of progressed into me quitting my full-time job after 6 or 8 months or something.
So what's it like taking that full-time leap, where you're finally decide? How many months were you thinking about quitting that job before you actually made the move?
Well, that was kind of like the long-term goal. Once I started enjoying it, and I always knew,
subscribers.
My main goal always was to have a job in the fishing industry, and that sounds easier than it is. And now I could work for probably dozens of different companies now full time if I wanted to. But if you don't know someone, like I said, fishing culture isn't huge in Omaha, Nebraska. Yep. It's hard to get in, and so it was not that easy for me. And I kind of saw the YouTube route as the tournament route was the way to go for me to start. And then I was like, this isn't working. And so I saw the YouTube route, and it kept working. Things kept growing, and finally saw some money come in from it. And obviously you can't quit a full-time job when you have a mortgage payment and a spouse and a son and everything else. You can't just up and quit super quick. And so once it started to kind of make sense financially for me, it was still a big leap of faith. I wasn't making hardly anything when I did it, and it was nerve-wracking for sure, to just kind of forecast what I thought would happen with the channel. And luckily it all happened, and things really started to take off when I was doing it full time.
It's awesome to hear. So coming into the new year, do you have any big plans that you haven't, told your subscribers about that you want to leak here for fishing trips?
I can't tell you that.
I've asked a few people that kind of question, I've never gotten a positive response.
Well, it's the funny thing is, like, and I need to get better at this. I'm not good at planning for future stuff. My wife gets a bunch of vacation with her job, but she has to plan it like 9 months or a year out. And she's like, do you want to go anywhere this week? And it's like a year away. I'm like, well, yeah, probably, but I don't even know what I'm doing next week.
Yeah.
And so honestly, I don't have anything set planned. Not to say we won't be doing some epic stuff, but we, yeah. I mean, and I think that's kind of what sets my channel apart a little bit too, is we can go catch them locally and have just as much fun with it and teach more than if I go somewhere like, I don't know, Clear Lake in California or Guntersville, like where I'm at right now. So yeah, we'll go a lot of different places. I don't have anything set in the plans right now, but I have a lot of things in the back of my head I want to do, and so it'll just be kind of figuring out how to make them happen, I guess.
Got it. So speaking of Guntersville, I've fished there before. I recorded the trip with the Angler app. So I'll actually, once we get off the phone here, I'll send you all the coordinates from my trip, so that way you can see, where I fished a very specific grass line there. So, I'll send you that trip track and give you where I caught the fish there.
Talk me into it.
Just try to give you a little head start there.
Well, that's great, man. That's a great thing about the Angler app too, is you can do ridiculous things like sharing a trip with someone. I never thought that would be something you could do fishing wise, but it's pretty incredible.
Only with my best buddies, of course.
Of course, yeah. That one's probably not very public.
Yeah, exactly. But I'll close the podcast up by saying we're excited to be partnering with you at Angler here, and looking forward to getting you to better teach people about their fishing trips, about their time on the water. And just want to thank you so much for hopping on here, talking with me for these 20-30 minutes. And yeah, go smash them on Guntersville for me.
Man, I'm going to try to. I really appreciate you guys having me on. And of course, I'm super excited to be a part of this Angler team and everything that's going to go along with it, because educating is the most important thing to get anyone involved in fishing, no matter what their age or anything else is. So it's exciting to have another tool in the toolbox to be able to do that.
Absolutely. Well, appreciate you hopping on, and yeah, go catch some fish, post up some pics. I'm looking forward to it.
Deal. Sounds good, man.
Thank you guys again so much for listening to this week's episode of the Fishing Intelligence Podcast. Make sure that you go leave positive ratings and reviews on Google Play, Spotify, and iTunes. Be on the lookout for next week's episode. As always, I'll catch you next week. Fishing Intelligence, a fishing improvement podcast for the modern angler.